Hi everyone. I am live for our Tuesday talks. A little bit late. Ugh. I'm not even going to go there, but you know what's going on. It's never easy for me. I don't know why. I'm going to blame it on Mercury retrograde this time, just because. Because I'm tired of taking the blame all the time for this. But anyways, today I am going to try to make this short and sweet because I have a tendency to really talk a little bit too much. And I'm thinking that you guys really don't have the time to sit down for an hour and talk to me unless we, do it through a chat and you really want to sit down and talk to me. So I'm really going to try to make this short, and I'm really going to in the future try to make these interactions a little bit shorter and keep them, little bit of information and, take away with it from what you can. Today, I'm actually talking about when body image isn't really about your body. Um, and it was funny when I was doing a little bit of this research, I had a few of these little moments when it really came quite clear that perhaps I suffer from this as well. I mean, it is something that can be very interesting, this whole distorted look that we have about ourselves. And it really, again, doesn't come from a place of reality for most part, because it is very much our own thought processes that is really putting us in a place of a distortion about what really is going on. So, like I was saying, uh, when it comes to our own body image, most of us have this idea of what we look like. And if many of you have a really hard time first thing in the morning when you go, look in the mirror or look at yourself when you're naked in the mirror or anything like this, and right away we have those negative thoughts. Right away we go to the what's like where we have a little bit extra fat, what exactly is not where it should be, gravity taking hold, spots on our body, all these different things that can be quite negative, and we really we end up going and spiraling downwards with regards to this, and we really have this image of where and what our body should be like, but we have this distorted picture in our heads of how horrible we are, of how um, less than we are, and how it actually is so much of something that we dwell on all the time. I mean, so many of us, we actually, really think less of our bodies, and it really actually has nothing to do with the shape that we are actually in. It actually has a lot more to do with what's going on in our life at the time. So when we learn to blame our bodies, we are actually using it as a scapegoat, basically. And when we have a lot of stuff going on in our lives that we can't control, we end up blaming things like the fact that our butts are a little bit bigger than they should be, or that we've got a little bit more flesh around our abdomens than we should, or we have, our hair's the wrong color, or we're not as tall as we should be. These are things that we can't really control too much. I mean, some of it, yes, we can control, but the thing is, we end up blaming our bodies because it's the um, easiest thing that we know how to control, know how to blame. And it's basically just a coping mechanism. So, I mean, if we find that ourselves that we're not making enough money, or if we're don't have enough friends, or our social life is kaput, or we really we put our focus in on something other than our body, other than what the real reason is for our discontent. And more times than not, we look in the mirrors and we see ourselves, and we are looking at the flesh and bones of who we are, as opposed to a lot of times looking and feeling inside about what's going on in there. And we blame our bodies, and we end up feeling very helpless as a result. Because, I mean, if you're short, that's, you can't really do too much about that. But I mean, if our butts are a little bit bigger, or our thighs are touching, or our abdomens are a little bit bigger than what we want, these are things that we can actually do about. But then we end up feeling really bad, even worse, because we know better. We know that we should be getting out and walking. We know that we shouldn't be eating, a big tray of brownies. We know all these things, and yet we don't do them, and we feel even worse. And we end up blaming ourselves and our bodies and feeling like crap when we're actually forgetting about maybe what the real reason behind our discontent with ourselves is. And at more times than not, it has to do with something that's inside, and we're not and we're the superficialness of ourselves and superficialness of our bodies and our lives is the easiest way, path of least resistance, to blame what we look like. I mean, you know as we get older, like I said, our hair changes, we get wrinkles, um, you know, we get lines that we don't want, we get spots on our skin. There's a lot of things that happen with the aging process. And then if anything is going bad in our lives, we blame that as a result, unfortunately. And it really is just more of a matter of a coping mechanism than anything else. So how are you going to break that cycle? Well, it really starts with awareness, and it brings um, a clarity, and it kind of almost like dissipates that fog, and I really begin to notice and hear uh, these negative body image, these thoughts, these voices in your head that are talking to you. But at the same time, when you bring that awareness to it, and you realize, and some realization towards it too, you might look a little bit deeper and see exactly what's going on. So maybe you're a little overstressed. Maybe your life is very chaotic and you're feeling helpless, and you're dealing with a lot of emotions right now that you don't want to deal with. So you just switch that and you just blame something else. So you blame your body, the way that you look, for feelings of helplessness. And then it's a spiral downwards for my people, or people that have a tendency to eat their emotions. You may spiral downwards and look for that pan of brownies, and then you're just like, it's one layer upon layer that you're going deeper, deeper, deeper down, which is something that I'm really hoping that you don't get to that point. But it happens very often, and by bringing some awareness to the pattern that you're following is kind of the first step to be able to really bring some realization to the feelings that are going on, without just blaming your body for what it looks like, because it really isn't your fault. I mean, we have social media around us, we have images all over the internet, we have for a lot of people, a lot of women my age, we grew up with magazines through the 80s and the 90s, and we had this image that we should be a certain way. And when we look at ourselves in the mirrors and we don't see that image, we automatically blame this image, ourselves, our body, for whatever's wrong in our lives. And this is something that, like I said, it's not your fault. It's social media, and bringing some awareness and some clarity to that is the first step to working towards improving that body image. So if you're in this kind of situation and you're one of these people that really have this poor body image, understanding of that it's not really so much about your body, but there's a lot of deeper issues going on, please seek out a licensed therapist to work with, or you can actually connect with me and we can discuss it a little bit further and see if maybe there is a need to seek out a professional with regards to this. Otherwise, you can just, talk to me as a coach and we can work through it and see what the issues are and bring some realizations to what's going on in your life. So, because it is, I'm not going to say it's easy. I mean, bringing awareness to the situation is the first step. It's not easy, but the thing is, there are steps that you can take with regards to changing your body image. And by accepting your image as what it is, and your mind's interpretation of your body, it can be quite cathartic. It can be quite healing. It can be quite, that, like, almost like I said, like that fog lifting when you really start, getting past that point of understanding that there is no such thing as a bad body. And when we envelop ourselves in a cloud of shame, we really, we almost, it's almost like we like to stay there because this is something familiar. This is something that we've known for years and years and years. And it's something that, even though it's not a good thing, it's something that we understand. And because we've been there for so long, it's hard to get past that. It's hard to get out of that that guilt and that shame, but living in that space. And when we start, like I said, to bring some awareness to what our thoughts are, to bring some awareness and understanding that our bodies are not bad in whatever shape, size, or understanding of your how you look is not bad. This is the one of the first steps, and then of course going from there and understanding that why you're having these thoughts. Why are you projecting everything that's going on that might be bad in your life onto your body and using that as the scapegoat, and then diving into feeling that guilt and that shame as a result. These are all things that you should be bringing some awareness to and understanding, and then working beyond that as well too. So within my program that I have going on right now, my 6 week New You foundational eating program, we really dive into this quite a bit because within my 3 pillars of success, um, mindset is so very important, and it actually takes up about half of the program, literally. Whereas movement and motivation and movement and joyful movement and the menu and the physical part of things and metabolism and those things, they take up the other half. So actually 1/3 of the whole program takes up more than half. If there's a little bit of crazy math there, but it takes up more than half of the program because I find that this is essentially the missing link with a lot of healthy eating programs. And it is the one hurdle that many of us have not been able to get over with regards to our ultimate goal. And a lot of that, unfortunately, tends to be weight loss because we are not happy with the way we are right now. We are not accepting of where we are. I mean, to a certain extent, there is, a, a really good way of having non acceptance because, I mean, you don't want to accept yourself in an unhealthy state. You can be skinny all day long but not be healthy, and not have a healthy mindset, um, and then working towards having a healthy mindset as well as a healthy body. You can be overweight and not have a healthy body and a healthy mindset, and then work towards bringing your body into a balance and understanding that, and accepting the body as what it is, but knowing that it's healthy as well because you feed it healthy foods, you move it with a healthy and joyful movement, and you bring that mindset in it as well. So those essentially are my 3 pillars of success with regards to bringing some really healthy longevity and understanding that we are bodies and beings that evolve all the time. We are constantly evolving, and wherever you're at right now is okay. But moving forward and understanding and bringing awareness and all these other things that we're always learning to do to bring ourselves to a better place is something that is my ultimate goal for you, and something that I love to teach and love to offer my clients on an ongoing basis. So coming back to body image, just understanding that you don't have to sit where you are. You don't have to wake up in the morning and look at yourself and then turn away in shame and guilt because you ate a whole pizza the night before and had a bottle of wine to go with it. Not talking about myself. Haven't done that in a long time. But I mean, it's gotten to me to a place where this is where I am now. But it's the awareness behind it and understanding that perhaps when we don't like ourselves, or we feel frustrated, or we feel angry, or we feel overwhelmed, or we feel unhappy with whatever situation is going on in our lives right now, then we use food as a comfort. We use food as a crutch, even though we know that we're not supposed to. This is the whole tumble, downward spiral thing that we go through on an ongoing basis, and it just makes matters worse and worse and worse. But bringing an awareness and understanding, after we've done all these things and then we look in the mirror and we go, oh my goodness, what did I do? Why am I here? Why are my arms flabby? Why am I, is my butt bigger and I can't get my jeans on anymore? Why all the time? Well, the awareness is that we know why. And it's just a matter of bringing that awareness to the fact that we do know why, and then doing better next time. And understanding that even though it feels comfortable to sit in a place of guilt and shame, this is not the place that we need to live. We need to get away from that. We need to understand that there is no guilt, there is no shame, because it is not your fault. And when we know better, we do better. And that's the simplest way that I can explain it to, even though, like I said, it's not quite a simple journey. But when we know better and we bring that awareness and we start to make baby steps uh, towards change in the positive direction, then things begin to change and things begin to shift, and things, your image, what you see. I'm looking at myself in the video here, and what you see is going to be different. You're going to see yourself in the way that your spouse sees you. You're going to see yourself in the way that everybody else sees you. You are going to love the image that you are portraying to the world, because it is coming from a place of your heart, and not the amount of makeup that you're wearing, or your hairstyle, or the clothes that you're wearing, or how well your clothes fit you. It's going to come from a different place. So you're going to see yourself and see the love that resides within, for reflected outwards. And so, like I said, I'm not going to make this much longer. This is about 16 minutes, and I'm hoping to really make these videos a little bit shorter as we go, actually 18 minutes, so I'll keep it at a 20-minute tops. And if you have any comments, please, I'd really love to hear them. If you have any concerns or you have any questions with regards to the New You program, we started it this last Monday, but you can join it whenever you want. That's not a problem. I am here to help. If you want to express your feelings, if you're too shy to make comments below, please DM me. Connect somehow, because I know how you feel. I know what's going on with you. I've lived it. I am continually living it. And it is a journey of a lifetime but it's always taking those baby steps, a little bit, all the time, all the time, all the time. So I love you dearly. And like I said, I'm really going to be working on making these videos a lot shorter. And yeah, March is coming up very soon. There's lots of stuff coming up, and just stay tuned. Like I said, I love you dearly. Here for you. Talk to you soon. Bye. time for this. But anyways, today I'm short and sweet because and and then it's a spiral downwards for my people or people that have than they should be, or that we've got a little bit more flesh around our abdomens than we should, or we have, our hair is the wrong color, or we're not as tall as we should be. These are things that we can't really control too much. I mean, some of it, yes, we can control, but the thing is, we end up blaming our bodies because it's the um, easiest thing that we know how to control, know how to blame. And it's basically just a coping mechanism. So I mean, if we find that ourselves that we're not making enough money, or if we're don't have enough friends, or our social life is kaput, or you know we really we put our focus in on something other than our body, other than what the real reason is for our discontent. And more times than not, we look in the mirrors and we see ourselves and we are looking at the flesh and bones of who we are, as opposed to a lot of times looking and feeling inside about what's going on in there. And we blame our bodies and we end up feeling very helpless as a result. Because I mean, if you're short, that's, you can't really do too much about that. But I mean, if our butts are a little bit bigger, or our thighs are touching, or our abdomens are a little bit bigger than what we want, these are things that we can actually do about. But then we end up feeling really bad, even worse, because we know better. We know that we should be getting out and walking. We know that we shouldn't be eating a big tray of brownies. We know all these things, and yet we don't do them, and we feel even worse, and we end up blaming ourselves and our bodies and feeling like crap, when we're actually forgetting about maybe what the real reason behind our discontent with ourselves is. And at more times than not, it has to do with something that's inside, and we're, superficialness of ourselves and superficialness of our bodies and our lives is the easiest way, path of least resistance, to blame what we look like. I mean, as we get older, like I said, our hair changes, we get wrinkles, um, you know, we get lines that we don't want, we get, spots on our skin. There's a lot of things that happen with the aging process. And then if anything is going bad in our lives, we blame